Are the Arizona Diamondbacks actually contemplating trading Ketel Marte? And would it be their only way to get out of the hole they're in for 2026? We got our guy Jack Summers from Snakes Territory joining us today to talk about it, and we're going to do that in 30 seconds. Don't you go anywhere. Welcome in to another edition of the PHNX Dbacks podcast, live from Studio K, presented by our friends at Circle K. Happy Friday to you all. It is I, your mayor of PHNX, occasionally known as Derek Montilla. And yes, this is a happy Friday. I don't know, maybe it's not. Baseball continues to make me sad, even though our team is not in it. Our adopted team is now on their heels. The damn Dodgers are one game away from the World Series, and I hate all of it. It's the reason why the guy on the ones and twos today has given up completely watching baseball altogether. He's moved on to football season and even basketball season. It's the one, the only Damon dog. Damon, thoughts on the postseason?
I don't even know what's happening, Derek. You might need to fill me in.
I know, I'll fill you in, but don't worry about that. That's what this show is here for. For those of you that have completely stopped paying attention to baseball altogether, we are here to get you updated, and we are also here to ponder why the Diamondbacks would even consider trading Ketel Marte, and we're going to do that with the help of our guy Jack Summers. Great to have you guys here, especially El Gallo and Killer Rex. Great to see you guys. Of course, this show is brought to you by our friends at Bet365 and Game Time. Make sure to use that Bet365 app today and download it. Use our code of PHNX365 when you do. Get yourself some bonus bets for signing up. And over at Game Time, of course, use our code of PHNX. You'll get yourself $20 off last-minute ticket purchases that are already low. Get your tickets for Bert Kreischer tonight. He's out there in Glendale. We will be out there. So at one point tonight, Bert Kreischer is going to pour alcohol into my mouth. I may or may not be shirtless when that happens. So, of course, you got to make sure to join us out there for that. And of course, I'm not getting paid any money for that. This is just an endorsement of me having a great Friday night. Right now, the Mariners, they're not having a great time. The Mariners are in trouble, you guys. Our adopted Dbacks, aka the Sea Snakes, lose game 4 to the Blue Jays 8-2. I wish these games were a little bit closer, even if the Mariners were losing. I'm draped in full Mariners garb today. This isn't really a Mariners hat, nor is this specifically a Mariners shirt, but it's as close as I could get to it in my wardrobe to help turn the guys' season around here, because it really does feel like they are on their heels right now. Max Scherzer delivered a vintage performance last night, and not just that, but he also was a vintage madman on the mound once again. He went 5 2/3 innings, allowing 2 runs on 3 hits. He did issue 4 walks. He struck out 5 batters, so he looked. It looked like the Max Scherzer of old. Notably, Scherzer is the news on Scherzer today going around is his crazy person moment that he had last night. He insisted on staying in the game during a mound visit in the 5th inning, showcasing, if you want to call it, his competitive spirit here, Damon. That's what you see coming out of his face right there is his competitive spirit. He did not want to come out of the game in the 5th inning. Toronto Blue Jays manager John Schneider, seen there in the hoodie, was approaching Scherzer with 2 outs and 1 on there in the 5th inning. The Blue Jays at the time had a 5-1 lead, and apparently, according to his post-game press conference, Schneider told the reporters that he tells his starters, if he walks out to the mound, you're done. It's a wrap for you. You're coming out of the game. But if he does a little slight jog, it means he's giving you as a pitcher extra time to talk him out of it once he gets out there to the mound, right? So apparently he started walking out to the mound to signal to Max Scherzer that his night was over, in which Max Scherzer exclaimed, "No!" That was his response to seeing his manager come out in this very important playoff game. And then when he yelled no at John Schneider, who was walking out to the mound, Schneider proceeded to jog out to the mound because he realized that this was about to be the classic Mad Max altercation that he has been waiting all season for. And he did go on afterwards to say that he's been eager for such an exchange since their first Zoom call during free agency. But I know I'm not allowed to curse on this show, so I'll do my best to censor this. But he did say before he got there, he said, "I'm forking good." And then I said, "Are you sure? Are you sure?" And he said, "Yeah." And I went, "You better forking execute then." And then he said, "I forking will." So there was a lot of F words being exchanged back and forth there. Excuse me. Credit to the good place for giving me that one. Schneider then punched Scherzer in the stomach and said, "Go get it." that is the most electric sounding thing from a movie I've ever heard in my life, but it actually occurred in Game 4 of the ALCS. So that's what happened there. Andres Jimenez had a very funny response to this as well. He said that most of the time when they have a mound visit, he comes out to the mound. But when he saw Max yelling at Schneider, he just turned around and went back and left it alone, which was a pretty smart move. He also contributed significantly to the win, hitting a 2-run homer in the 3rd inning and then adding a 2-run RBI in the 8th inning. He finished the game with 4 RBIs. And once again, the Blue Jays' bottom of the lineup guys have been doing it to the Mariners. That's the most frustrating part about this loss. Also, again, like I said, that both of these losses in Seattle have been very one-sided. Vladimir Guerrero hit his 5th postseason home run. It was a solo shot in the 7th inning. That extended the Blue Jays' lead even further. Meanwhile, on the Mariners side, we can spy on our X's because our X's were the only ones getting it done for this team. Gino Suarez had an RBI single for the Mariners, which was the only other run in this game besides Josh Naylor's solo home run, which was his 2nd of the postseason. Not to mention that, but Josh Naylor was 3 for 3 in the game with that home run. Gino Suarez 1 for 4 with an RBI. Again, Gino still continues to struggle, but he has been contributing at times. You couldn't say the same for the Mariners 1 through 4 hitters in yesterday's game. 0 for 13 with 4 walks and 6 strikeouts. And that is Cal Raleigh, that is Randy Arozarena, that is Julio Rodriguez, and that is Jorge Polanco. So not a great day for those guys. And if the Mariners have any hope of turning things around, because it really does feel like this entire series just turned on its head with this loss, they need those guys to step up, especially Cal Raleigh, right? Cal Raleigh has been a big reason why the Mariners are even in this spot. He has been huge during the playoffs up to this point. And Ernesto might absolutely be correct. The extra innings game finally came back to bite them. It really does feel like right now at this point, this team is on their heels. And again, it feels like they're exhausted. They look exhausted out there. They look frustrated. And Toronto, meanwhile, seems like they're only getting stronger as the series goes on. So don't know what tonight's game holds. This office might be a mess with our guys, Zach and Shane, both Mariners fans. As you know, we are also Mariners fans here on this podcast.
Might be?
Did I say might be?
Yeah, this office is going to be a mess.
Oh, this office. Well,
Straight up.
I need to throw the might be out there because we can't conclude that the Mariners are going to lose, right? The Blue Jays will start Kevin Gausman while the Mariners will counter.
You think that these guys are going to be reasonable even if it's like a tie game, Derek? I mean, they're going to strike out, see one strikeout and be like, it's over.
Win this game and Shane's going to be miserable. Shane is so upset with me, Damon. Shane won't even look at me because of what we did to him and this team on what was it, Tuesday's show? Or Wednesday. I'm sorry. No, excuse me. It was Wednesday's show when Damon was off.
And I get it.
Shane came in here. Shane was being all melancholy. I was trying to hype him up, tell him he had nothing to worry about. The series was going back to Seattle. He had everything to worry about. He was right, and he knew it. And I don't know why. I encouraged him in any way, shape, or form to think positively about his team that has never made it to the World Series. And he's right to be mad at me, but it's going to be very difficult for us to work together for the next 4 months, I think, if the Mariners get bounced here. So I really need them to, come back. I need them to get into the world. I need them to at least be our face team. I mean, I can root for the Blue Jays in the World Series. It doesn't matter who wins this series. They're the baby face in the championship game against whoever wins, and we know who's going to win. It's the Dodgers. They're now one game away from being in the World Series. They beat the Brewers 3-1. This time, their bullpen was inexplicably good and held strong against the Brewers there late. And Damon, there was a moment in yesterday's game where I knew this series was over, despite the fact that yesterday's game wasn't over yet, and despite the fact that there was still another game to be played and won by the Dodgers in order for the series to be over. And that's when Jackson Chourio swung at a pitch and then looked like he cramped up in his hamstring, but he's had some hamstring issues. And he proceeded for about 5 minutes to hobble around and try to get his leg to straighten out. It looked like he could not bend his knee or unbend his knee, to the point where they had to take their star out of the game. And his entire, future with this postseason is still up in jeopardy. There's still some uncertainty about his health given that hamstring issue. But the minute I watched him hobble down those stairs into the dugout and be replaced, I was like, this series is a wrap. It's a wrap. It's a wrap. And of course, it felt like that took the life, the energy out of the Brewers. And of course, it's already been a difficult battle here because the Dodgers have just been relying on dominant pitching. Their offense has not been stellar, has not been outstanding, but they haven't needed it, considering that all of these games are close and their pitchers have been doing such an incredible job. They have Ohtani going on the mound in Game 4 against what appears to be Jose Quintana on the mound, though he hasn't made a start since a calf injury. So don't know how that's going to play out for the Brewers. Hope that Pat Murphy still has some magic left, or do we, Damon? Do we even? I mean, Look, we've both gotten into some hot water with Dodgers fans on Twitter based on some tweets we had, so we no longer care. Or we're firmly on this side and we're against them, and that's how this is all played out. And I don't think there was ever a time where it wasn't that, despite Damon making some bold accusations against me that I may or may not have deserved. But Damon, when it really does come to this bullpen, or not this bullpen, this Dodgers team, it's a foregone conclusion that they're advancing at this point to the World Series. There's no way I foresee the Brewers getting themselves out of it. So would we prefer that the Brewers fight back and at least extend this to maybe 6 games instead of just 4 getting swept? Or do we want the Dodgers just to do it? It reminds me of the football situation where, you got a team scoring late and you have to make that decision. Do you just let the running back go in because they're going to get into the end zone so that you have more time to try to come down and come back? It's like one of those. Do we want the Dodgers to have a layoff, and do we want them to maybe not, maybe be on a roll as they go here against whoever wins in the ALCS? Or would we prefer that the Brewers, made them at least work a little bit for this?
It's classic rest versus rust debate,
right.
in playoffs. And I think it's different for every team.
Right.
And you never really truly know until you watch it unfold in front of you. So this is complete speculation. We could sound like idiots, but personally, I think that playing consistent baseball, is probably the way that you want to do it in this sport in particular. I think hockey is also a sport that you could maybe say is similar in the way that not the best team doesn't always win. The most talented team doesn't always win in baseball and hockey. It feels like those sports are very momentum driven in the postseason. And so if you lose that momentum, if it gets halted a little bit, who's to say that doesn't kind of just throw you off your groove slightly, right?
Yeah.
So I personally, I think that maybe getting this series over with as fast as possible from a Dodger hater perspective, of which I believe that I lead the army. You are maybe my first lieutenant,
yes.
but
hand me a torch. Let's
go.
And
I believe you got promoted after a viral tweet of your own, and that's how we do ranks in this army is social media posts. But I think that as a leader of Dodger Hater Nation, we definitely want this series to end as fast as possible, and then hopefully whatever team has the momentum of the ALCS just rolls them in the World Series.
There is that. The one thing I can think though is the Dodgers are getting some phenomenal pitching. And like I said, yesterday, credit to their bullpen. They held strong. They came into a game where Tyler Glasnow was still pitching very well, but, didn't give them what they got out of Blake Snell and Yamamoto. The bullpen actually had some work to do, came out of the inning before the end of the 6th, And like I said, the bullpen did a great job. But I feel like looking at the Dodgers, they look like a tired team. I feel like Ohtani, with the way he's struggling in the postseason, is this long season, stinking up the joint. He is
career under 200 hitter in the postseason. Derek, did you know this?
He has not been good. He has not been good.
That's the GOAT. That's the GOAT.
I know. Well, I can't argue with you on that. I mean, for sure. But what it feels like is that some rest, some days off would actually be good for that team. Like you said, sometimes it varies by team, from team to team, right? So like, I would love to see the Brewers at least try to not get steamrolled here, try their best, but
show some damn pride.
Yeah, I'm still very doubtful of that. I do feel like with Ohtani on the mound today, we're going to see, him try to make up for his lack of offense, and I wouldn't be surprised to see him have an incredible day out there.
Yeah, I think he owes them that after how horrible he's been offensively. But also, like, could you imagine being Bryce Terang right now, Derek?
I still can't. No.
Like, dude, you're down 3-0. You're looking at a sweep straight in the eyes. You could have been up 1-0.
You could have changed the entire series potential by just letting a single pitch hit you.
I wonder if Bo Brock still thinks that's an egregious opinion that he should have got hit by that pitch and wore it.
Doesn't he? He covers football. I mean, I would think
he played college baseball, so
he's a knowledgeable guy.
He's
and I think he'd be okay with guys taking one for the team.
Yeah, totally.
He
seriously, he's like, I hate the kid that just tries to wear it when it goes inside. Buddy, the World Series is on the line right now.
This isn't game 73 of the regular season. Get out of here. I'm not hearing it. I'm not hearing it.
Seriously. If it was the regular season, I get it, dude. Jump out of the way, but the stakes are a little bit higher. And like, I don't think it's crazy to say Bryce Terang like ended the series before it even started.
Yeah.
Like, how deflating is that to jump out of the way of that when you could have tied it? Potentially the next guy wins the game for you, right? At home. And then, the next pitch, he's swinging at something that's twice as tall as him.
Yeah.
Like, it was an embarrassing swing to strike out as well.
I honestly think that it was instinct and then shame a little bit in the moment, right? Like trying to be a hero on the very next pitch and just swinging at whatever.
Oh,
right?
I bet you after he jumped out of the way, he was like, oh my God.
Yeah. Like that was it. That would have tied the game.
And I'm about to strike out. His next thought was, I'm about to strike out on this next pitch.
Right. So anyway, appreciate all of you guys being here in the chat and all of the Dodger hate. We'll see what happens today. But we are going to take a quick break. On the other side of this break, we are going to get into it. Should the Arizona Diamondbacks consider trading Ketel Marte? What would a return look like? And would it be one of the most foolish moves this organization had ever made? We're going to talk about it with our guy, Jack Summers from Snakes Territory. Don't you guys go anywhere. You're watching the PHNX Diamondback Show. Well, Pure Edibles was a company that was founded right here in Arizona and is available in over 130 dispensaries. They are an edibles and all-in-one candy company, marijuana company, and they offer some great products, including a wide variety of candies, different candies, not just gummies. They got hard candies, chews. They have a wide variety of strains and effects, which are clearly listed on each one of their tins. But right now, they have their new collaboration with one of the greatest breweries in all of the land, Mother Road Brewery. And who says happy hour ever has to end? With their new collaboration, they call it Noble Road, between our friends there at Pure Edibles and, of course, Mother Road Brewing Company. And they have collaborated on a new Tower Station IPA all-in-one. Just like the amazing beer by the same name, this offering captures the crisp citrus and piney hops of Arizona's favorite IPA with just a good tasting high whenever you want it. So if you're in Arizona, swing by select dispensaries and grab your Tower Station all-in-one from Noble Road. Cheers to happy hour all day, every day. And while you're there, pick up some Pure Edibles products. You can find them in one of over 130 dispensaries across Arizona. And whatever the moment, it is never ordinary at Bet365. Bet365 has 90 million users worldwide, and they are all digging football season. Football is the best time of the year to get down on the Bet365 app, especially if you're a new customer. They have early payout offers on both college football and NFL, where you're a winner if your team goes up by 17 points with an instant payout on straight bets and parlay selections, which are marked as winners. You can download that app and use our code of PHNX365 when you sign up. Last NFL season, both money lines were paid out 4 times because of their early payout offer and the end result of the game. And we also know that unfortunate Cardinals loss to the Titans also ended with both teams getting paid out for that one.
I took advantage of it. ASU versus TCU. I went to the game with my TCU buddies. Yeah. TCU goes up 17-0. Feels like the game's over. Hey, turns out
it wasn't
over. But guess who still cashed his TCU money line bet?
This guy over here.
Well,
for sure.
ASU fans yelling at me as I left the stadium might have begged to differ.
You deserve that. You deserve that every time. ASU fans, make sure to boo this man anytime he's in the house. But you new customers, you get $200 in bonus bets when you bet $5 win or lose over at Bet365. All you got to do is sign up, use that code of PHNX365 when you do. Deposit $10 and place a bet for $5 to get $200 in bonus bets, win or lose. Bonus bets can be used on the spread, totals, players, props, futures, and more. Whatever the moment, it's never ordinary. Bet365 must be 21 or over and physically located in Arizona. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem and wants help, call 1-800-NEXT-STEP, text NEXT STEP to 53342 or visit problemgambling.az.gov.
Speaking of our friends at Bet365, and I just put it here in the chat, did you see Killer X called Shohei Parlay?
Oh, yeah.
Electric nickname.
Parlay O'Gambly?
Yeah, the O'Gambly, I mean, I feel like obviously it's funny. You're clearly trying to force it, but yeah. I am going to start calling him Parlay Otani.
Okay.
Like that is a thing that I'm going to do moving forward.
That's totally something that you can embrace. But
correct.
I'm going to embrace this man. I mean that both by having him on the show, and I'm literally going to physically embrace him next time I see him. But it is the one, the only Jack Summers from Snakes Territory and also Sports Illustrated. Jack, thank you for being here. And let me first start off by saying happy birthday to you, sir. Appreciate you giving time to me on this day of your birth. I do not deserve that, but thank you. And I'm thrilled to be chatting with you here.
Well, my wife's inside. She started cooking this morning. It's the Taiwanese style beef noodle soup.
Oh, sounds
which is just like the best thing ever.
I know you said the son's coming over for that. I didn't get the invite. I feel fine. That's fine. But just save me a little bit. That's all I ask. But yeah, man, I know that, of course, you are a big family guy. You are big about, I love always seeing your pictures from your trips and everything. And again, this conversation I think we're having hurts Diamondbacks fans a little bit, because if there's one guy that definitely feels like he's part of our family, it's Ketel Marte. But as you guys talked about on your show this week, trading Ketel Marte has become, it's one of those things where there's smoke, there's got to be fire, and it feels like this isn't just rumors. This is something that the Diamondbacks are sincerely considering. And I mean, again, Mike Hazen said he's taking phone calls on everybody, but there are some reasons why trading Ketel Marte actually does make sense.
Yeah, well, there certainly is. I mean, there's always two sides to every coin. A lot of people want to know, like, where is this coming from? And it goes back to what happened over the summer. The incident over taking the time off at the All-Star break.
For sure.
And I just kind of want to clarify one thing up front. I'm not advocating trading Ketel Marte.
Sure.
And I'm not banging on the guy for what happened over the summer. We just have to report what happened, what we see, and what we hear.
We're in a similar position, and I think that we both agree on that. Like, again, there are times, though, where as an organization, right, and this this is why we're discussing it, you kind of have to make these tough decisions. And there is at least a track record in the past from some teams where they traded a star player away that felt like it was a devastating trade at the time, and yet that move overall improved not only the franchise but helped the future, kind of get back on track a little bit. And I think that, it's hard to not discuss this thing with Ketel and not bring up that incident, the article that came out, the reaction to that article, to that news that Ketel had missed time and that his teammates were not happy with him over it, or some of his teammates weren't. But again, it becomes a thing of commitment. It becomes a thing of, I think, also, quite frankly, this might sound a little callous, but like a stock, selling when a player might be at their peak as far as value is concerned, and trying at that time to get the most in return for them, instead of waiting potentially for them to start to regress overall, right? And I'm not suggesting Ketel Marte is going to do that, but there are some things here that that you can evaluate as far as an entire organization is concerned, and see where Ketel being traded, depending on the return, could help a lot of other pieces be fixed. And unfortunately, Ketel's overall performance doesn't really feel like it would be missed by a lot, considering the pieces that they might be able to get in return.
Well, it's very hard to speculate at this particular moment what kind of return they can get. I think we just need to
That's the part
backtrack
that's
a
too
little
hard.
bit, though. The Diamondbacks were pissed off. They were upset and they were angry when Ketel, without telling them, jumped on a flight from Atlanta right after he left the All-Star game and went to the Dominican Republic.
Right.
That was his plan. He didn't show up to go get on the plane with his teammates to rejoin the team. In his mind, supposedly what he told us later was that he was planning to get back by Friday. But I did some investigating, and I mean, let's be honest here. You're flying from Atlanta at 10 o'clock at night if you're jumping on a charter direct nonstop down in the Dominican Republic. You're looking at a 5-6 hour flight. And then so what's he getting in, like 4 or 5 in the morning on Thursday, and then to be able to rejoin the team in time for pregame workouts on Friday, he'd have to leave in the middle of the night, Thursday night. So what?
Yeah,
He's
he
going
would have
down
been
at
there for
8
like
or
less than
12
24 hours.
No,
Yeah.
that never washed. And yes, the report that his house was broken into and all that, that honestly, it's not a reason for him to have made the decision to get on the plane in the first place. So when we spoke to him about that, I kind of pressed him on these logistics. And this was, we were in the clubhouse and they told us normally they kick us out within an hour of when the clubhouse opens. And they booted it. This time they didn't boot us from the clubhouse. And PR said, stick around, stay here in the clubhouse. And then Mike Hazen walked through and other people walked through and we waited 45 minutes. And then Ketel finally came out and spoke to us. And when I pressed him on the logistics, he said, yeah, I'm sorry. I screwed up, basically is what he said. So what Bob Nightingale reported afterwards, because he was around that day, and a lot of people don't realize Bob Nightingale's home base is right here in Arizona. And he's in that press box for more than half the Diamondbacks games.
We see Bob there all the time.
And he was there in the clubhouse, and he was, when Marte actually returned from the Dominican, and he spoke to people, and they were upset. They were visibly angry and upset over the whole situation. And so Bob wrote his article, like, the phone lines are going to be open. Now, the reason I'm diving into this stuff is because we have to remember that there are human beings involved here that are running these organizations. And this part is speculation. This part isn't reporting. But I believe that when they kind of expressed that anger to Bob and led Bob to write that story that, yeah, phone lines are going to be open. It's a worst kept secret. They're going to try to trade him, et cetera, et cetera. I think that was emotion speaking. I think they were just pissed. And I believe that cooler heads prevailed later.
Yeah.
And they're backing down off the ledge because when you analyze this, and this is what you have me on for, but when you analyze this, it just doesn't really, it's really a now or never situation. Like, if they want to trade him, they actually have to do it now. He's got 10-5 rights. He can refuse a trade early next season. The contract.
I speculated, by the way, that maybe, and again, this was because this situation had grown from Ketel being missing time because his house had gotten burglarized and like receiving like flack about that, right? But the flack wasn't because he had missed time and was dealing with the burglary and was like talking to police and cleaning things up at his house. Like you said, he wasn't even in Arizona, right? So when those facts came out and those details came out, I definitely changed my position on this, but it did feel like a guy that was, again, being kind of villainized here in this situation over his home being burglarized. I felt like those 10-5 rights were kind of a reason that this organization would want to start to move, the ball in the direction of trading him. And if you want the fan base to be okay with that, because the reaction from the fan base is going to be, tremendously negative about trading someone like Ketel.
Sure.
You get the ball rolling by, making accusations that he wasn't, here in town and he missed games because he was in the Dominican and his teammates are mad at him and blah, 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 when maybe some of that stuff isn't true. But I feel like what you're saying is accurate, and it's what I felt like this whole time. Like, even though things were said, those things, even by his teammates, weren't like, I'm sick of playing with Ketel. He's the worst. I don't want him on my team. It was more of anger in the moment, as you would be at like a coworker who called off for a day and, you know, missed a day and caused everybody on Wednesday to have to like shuffle around and fill space, and like we would around here if someone missed time, right? Like if one of our producers was out, that would put a strain on the rest of the group, right? So you might be upset that happened one day, but you kind of get over it fairly quickly, especially when the guy is Ketel Marte and he's one of the best players.
There's a little bit more at stake here, though.
No, absolutely. I'm just trying to use that as a dumb metaphor that can kind of, you know, be a little bit relatable. But yeah, like you can be mad at someone temporarily based on something that they did, but it doesn't necessarily mean that impacts your feelings about wanting them as a teammate, wanting them in your clubhouse, and wanting to play with them on the field, right? Like, so, yeah, like I agree with you, and I do feel like the reaction there was, you know, again, just emotional in the moment, you know?
Yeah. So, you know, and again, I didn't want to relitigate that whole part, but I do feel it's relevant to understanding the parameters of what kind of trade they could actually make. Because let's be honest, that whole incident and that whole reputation hurts his trade value. But that aside, when I dig into the numbers, as I often do, you know, look, we can look at his cumulative performance. I made a weighted average. You know, 4.8 WAR was what his last 4 seasons weighted average came out to. So that's like your platform piece, you know. And I came up with projections of 4, then 3.3, then 2.5, and then 1.8 WAR. Total's like 12.2. All right. Fangraphs, for their sake, they came up with a 14.2 WAR projection over, you know, the next remaining years of his contract. But here's the thing: the next 2 years are the cheap years.
Yeah.
You know, 12 and 15 million.
Right.
And then after that, it's 2022, 22. It's $64 million over the last 3 years, right when he's hitting ages 34, 5, and 6. So for the sake of, you know, expected performance versus what they got to pay him, he's valuable now. In the next 2 years, probably the last 2 years, not so much. And then we just mentioned the 10 and 5 rights, right? So those two factors combined, the way the contract is backloaded and the way that the 10 and 5 rights, no trade rights work out to be, means that if they're going to make a move, kind of now's the time.
Right.
If they don't do it now, that's it. The window's probably passed. Unless
it's going to be far more difficult. You know, his value is going to be lower, and he can block the trade because of those 10 and 5 rights, right? So, exactly. But I mean, basically, these are all the reasons why I think Ketel Marte being traded will continue to be a rumor that floats out there and everything like that. But with all of that being said, Jack, this still to me feels like the dumbest conversation to ever be having, and not because it's with you and not because it's actually something that could happen. It feels like the dumbest conversation because of how good Ketel Marte has been, what a superstar he is for this team, how, like, despite this one weekend, this one incident, as like, even I agree with Killer Rex, like there are people that receive far more or far less criticism, it feels like, for more serious, you know, I guess, things that they've done, you know, but, you know, you have Ketel Marte missing this, you know, weekend series that the Diamondbacks didn't even lose. And it feels like, you know, it's blown up into him being like the worst teammate and the worst person in the world, at least to some people, right? And I don't really think that's the case. I don't think that's how it's viewed internally. And I don't think, like, again, that trading Ketel Marte makes any damn sense, because this guy has just been so good for this team. And I mean, I get what you're saying, though, as far as like regression is concerned and getting older, like all of that is a factor, right? But, you know, again, if the Diamondbacks are going to have, you know, I just feel like it's going to be that Goldschmidt trade all over again, where even though Ketel Marte is the age that he is now, trading him would then make us sit there and watch him have like his inexplicably best seasons somewhere else with another team where he just thrives and becomes, you know, an MVP of the league.
Well, look, first of all, so speaking of our good friend Killer Rex, sorry, dude, you're wrong. I don't want him gone. That's a complete misconstrue of
Killer
what I'm
Rex makes
saying.
wild accusations at us all the time. You'll have to ignore him. But at the same
just
time,
Rob.
no. I mean, that's what it feels like, though. I think that's how some fans do feel about the way that we discuss somebody like this, because, again, there's other superstars on other teams. You know, like I know, I'm sure at some point our PHNX Suns show had to speculate if the Suns should trade Devin Booker or consider trading Devin Booker or whatever, right? But like there are guys that feel like what's that?
You got to analyze it.
You got it, and you have no choice.
Doing
sometimes
due diligence and analyzing it isn't the same as wanting somebody gone. Look, what I've said all along is I think it's almost impossible to get the proper return for Ketel.
That's.
I mean, if they're looking to win in 2026, how are you going to make this team better by trading arguably your best hitter?
And I misspoke earlier, Jack. I did say like, oh, hey, Ketel's, you know, what Ketel does, his performance wouldn't be missed by this team. I didn't mean that. I just meant that if the return is significant enough, I think offensively and defensively, they could recover from Ketel Marte not being on this team. But it would involve the trade being huge, the return being huge, and it would need to be like elite starting pitching, I almost feel like, which I don't know if the Diamondbacks could get a deal done for an elite starting pitcher that would involve just trading another team, Ketel Marte, for him, right? Like the value for that team Ketel Marte might not be high enough for them to part ways with what we or anyone else would consider an elite starting pitcher.
Yeah, I mean, especially one with control. I mean, if you're talking about trading Ketel for 1 year of Tariq Skubal, I mean, maybe that helps you in 2026. Maybe Skubal's more valuable than Ketel in 26, but then he's gone, right? You know, he's a free agent. He's gone. And if you
bring him home, Jack, we bring him home, we extend him. He's here forever. That's what we do.
Yeah, right. But I mean, if you're talking about trying to trade Ketel for, you know, a frontline starting pitcher with 3 years of control, which I would think would be the minimum starting point for anybody to feel satisfied with such a trade.
Yes.
That's a really difficult thing to pull off. I mean, what team is going to give up a frontline starting pitcher with 3 years of control if they're trying to win?
Right.
And obviously only a team that's trying to win would want Ketel Marte. A rebuilding team isn't going to try to bring him in. So the fits none of it makes sense.
Yeah.
And that's what has been my vantage point on this from the beginning of the end of last year and the beginning of this past season, beginning of offseason. It just doesn't make any sense to trade him because you're not going to be able to accomplish your goals. The only way, honestly, the only justification for trading Marte is if you're not trying to win in 26 and you're trying to collect a large package of players that can help you down the road once they get past the 2027 lockout.
Well, and I was
you know, if the Dbacks are interested in doing that, guess what? They're never going to admit it. Yeah. They're never going to tell us that that's what they're doing.
Right. Well, and I was also going to say, or I was going to ask you about this. We've kind of speculated here that not to say that Mike Hazen would be fired after 2026, not to say the Diamondbacks wouldn't bring Torey Lovullo back after 2026, but based on the way things are looking right now, it feels like next year is very much a make or break season. And if this team hovers around mediocrity or has a losing season where they don't really aren't even in it all year long based on how far they're out of it from the get-go, then this very well could be the last season we have Mike Hazen as the GM and Torey Lovullo as the manager. I don't love that idea. I don't, especially Hazen. I think Hazen has been a very good GM for this team, but with the lockout pending in 2027 and changes kind of looming and looking like they need to be made, there's a good chance that this front office or this organization decides that they want to kind of clean house a little bit and go in a different direction after all of that is figured out in 2027. So I feel like that's another part of this equation overall, right? Like, is Mike Hazen going to make moves that improve this team in 28 and 29? Or is he going to be solely focused on 2026 and trying his best to ensure this team is good for what could be the last hurrah between him, Torrey, and the Dbacks.
Oh, I think if you ask Mike Hazen, he absolutely will tell you that he's going to do whatever is necessary to try to win in 2026 without mortgaging the future.
Yeah.
But, at this point in time, when you're looking at a team with a reduced payroll coming, how much they're reducing, we don't know, but
No idea.
they keep telling us they're cutting it, so they're cutting it. Derek told us and Ken Kendrick told us.
Correct.
So clearly they're cutting it. So the only way to improve this roster is via trade. So, if you're Mike Hazen at this point, you have limited options to upgrade the roster. So the only way to do it is through trade. Now, are you trading off the major league roster? Are you trading prospects? Combination of both? It's kind of messy, right? It's a pretty messy situation. But if you're trading off the major league roster, you do have to look at, like, where do I have my depth? Where do I have, the opportunity to replace a player I'm trading off the major league roster? And again, you kind of circle back to, you do have Lawler if he ever gets it together. You have guys like Tommy Troy coming along that can play second base.
Right.
There's other players in the system coming up. But again, those guys are all going to need a couple more years before they're above average major leaguers.
Correct.
If they ever get there. Like,
Correct.
you can't expect a rookie to come in and be that guy.
No.
So
no.
I don't know. I mean, for me personally, I don't think it happens. I don't think they do trade him. I think that part of the over the top, they're going to trade Ketel Marte surety that came out of some of those articles. I think that was born out of an emotional reaction that's since, faced reality. And the reality is you move Ketel Marte, you're not likely to improve your 2026 chances.
I couldn't agree with you more, Jack, and I appreciate you taking some time on your birthday to join us. Thank you so much for your time. Make sure to follow Jack over at Snakes Territory with our guy, Jesse Friedman. You can get their podcast wherever you get this one. And follow Jack at Shoe Wizard. It's Shoe Wizard 59, right?
Shoe Wizard 59.
There it is. He is the Shoe Wizard. Well, thank you, sir. Appreciate you. Happy birthday again, and enjoy that soup.
Thank you. I will.
Happy birthday, Jack.
Thanks.
Appreciate you, brother. Steaks and beers on me next time I see you, for sure. Well, we're going to take a quick break. And on the other side of this break, we are going to talk a little bit more about Ketel Marte and once again be Fall Guys, give you some updates from yesterday's Arizona Fall League game. Don't you guys go anywhere. You're watching the PHNX Diamondbacks show. Unless, of course, that place you're going is to the Rally House, which is your go-to spot for all of your favorite local Arizona team gear. With tens of thousands of products to shop from, you'll never find the same thing twice in there. There's always something new at a Rally House and always the exact thing you need. You know, when you see that hoodie and you're like, I need that hoodie. I go through that almost on a daily basis, especially shopping Rally House's website online. So make sure to check out all they have for you over there. They have locations in Tempe, Mesa, and Glendale. You can also find your local Rally House location and shop their entire product assortment online at rallyhouse.com today. And they only carry Arizona sports teams. So make sure check out Rally House. You're guaranteed to find something new, unique, and that matches your game day vibe. And also, stop by Circle K. Circle K is America's thirst stop. And right now, if you join the Inner Circle for free, it's their free membership program. You can save today on all sorts of Circle K products. It's easy to download and get enrolled. Then you just got to use your phone number to score Circle K deals. Right now, Inner Circle members will get 79-cent Polar Pops, 99-cent Frosters, and Gatorades, 3 for $5. Those are the 28-ounce Gatorades, so do not miss out on that. Also, do not miss out on the ability to save yourself 10 cents off per gallon on your next fill up. That reward is available once per week. All you got to do is go there, either do a 5-gallon fill up or spend $5 inside the store. And the next time you fill up, you'll get 10 cents off per gallon, and you'll also get that once per week. So, of course, do not miss out on the chance to save money and save on gas, especially. Join the Inner Circle for free by downloading the Circle K app today. Terms and conditions apply at participating locations. Visit circlek.com for details. I knew it was inevitable that we were going to say negative things about Ketel Marte while we discussed that. And I just want to stand to affirm my position here. Ketel Marte is my favorite player on the Arizona Diamondbacks. Geraldo Perdomo is Damon's favorite player on the Arizona Diamondbacks.
Correct.
And these two are delightful to watch together, and they've been delightful to see them come up on this team. I think the one trait that both of those guys share in common is that neither player were highly regarded as a young infielder, and they both somehow worked hard enough to become two of the best players in baseball. And Ketel Marte is absolutely that. He is a legitimate bat with power. He has on-base skills. He has a track record of high performance. As our guy Killer Rex talked about, he got a hit in every one of the Diamondbacks postseason games during that 2023 run. He set a major league record for the longest consecutive hit streak in postseason history. And he's under contract the long term with that 6-year extension with guaranteed money. Just because of, again, the contract and his trade value, as Jack, suggested there, kind of depressing by his age and future decline. There's a lot that a future team would have to consider in even trading for Ketel. So it goes to a point of, would the return be significant enough for him? Ketel is a popular player here. Like I said, he is my favorite player. Lenny in the chat says, if we trade Ketel, I'm not watching baseball no more. I know watch baseball no more after that either. I'm not in the mood to watch this team if they trade Ketel. The reports of internal friction seem to definitely be over-exaggerated for sure. And, again, the optics here aren't good. Not only are the optics not good for fans, but I don't know, the optics of extending a player and then turning around and trading him kind of sucks. Like he signed an extension to be here in Arizona. As he has expressed many times, he loves it here. He wants to play here. He is from Phoenix, as he will tell you. And I appreciate that about him. I appreciate the way he has embraced this city, and I appreciate what he has become for this team. And more importantly, like again, it's just, what does it say to future players, right? Like, you want to play for an organization that wants to invest in you long-term and wants you to be here long-term. That's what the Diamondbacks have expressed to Ketel this entire time with these extensions and with keeping him here. And in turn, Ketel has definitely given this team a discount in those extensions, and it has somehow worked out all the way around, right? Jack's not wrong about, his contract going up in the future. That's part of the price you pay for extending a player, is kind of securing their future for them and giving them that money at a point in their career where they might not be worth the amount of money that you're paying them right now. This was specifically structured in the concept that, Ketel taking less now helps the team have more money to build or spend and build this team around him, right? So there's a lot of things that are pretty ugly about the idea of trading Ketel after a contract extension like that. But again, the message that it might send to future players that you want to extend is not the proper message, right? So I could go on, but there are real reasons here that it lines up. And again, the Diamondbacks don't have one particular player on their team that they could trade at this point that has the years of control left and has the pedigree that Ketel Marte does, that you would actually want to consider trading, that would get you a haul in return. You could do it for Corbin Carroll, you could do it for Geraldo Perdomo, and me and Damon we'll quit our jobs and we'll just spend our entire time protesting down at Chase Field. We'll make signs. We'll come up with protest chants. It might literally just be the two of us. But if you moved either one of those guys, it's over for you as an organization with us, because we will not stand for that. Ketel Marte probably deserves that same respect from us. But I feel like as far as what the groundwork has been laid here, right? As we discussed, the friction, the missing time and having to apologize, having teammates be upset with him, having the organization internally be upset with him over this. It does feel like, again, now would be a time that, at least if you line the facts up, it makes sense to trade Ketel. Nothing makes more sense than him reaching that 10 years of service time, and 5 years with a team, so that now he has a no veto clause, right? And that is or no trade clause, essentially. He can veto any trade to anywhere. It is purely up to Ketel Marte after about the midpoint of the 2026 season if he gets traded or not. Any idea has to be floated through his agent, and he can reject any trade at that point. So as far as this, as far as the idea of trading Ketel, that this is the only time where the Diamondbacks have full control over that in order to make that happen without Ketel being able to veto any trade. So these are all of the reasons why it makes sense. But there are so many more reasons why it doesn't. Mike Hazen sat in front of us and told us that his biggest regret as a general manager was trading Paul Goldschmidt. And what he never considered in that trade was what it was going to do to the locker room, what it was going to do to the clubhouse by trading Paul Goldschmidt. And that's what happened with that trade. It impacted the clubhouse, and things just were not the same without Paul Goldschmidt. I could only imagine, despite reports of his teammates being upset with him, how the clubhouse would feel without Ketel Marte in it any longer. Ketel Marte is a delight, both on and off the field. And I'll tell you, he is loved by his teammates. It's the reason why Geraldo Perdomo stood up for him like he did. So I just, there's just many reasons that people like look at giving away a core piece for pocket change for nothing over some minor spat that the players seem like sincerely regretful of and apologetic about. It just doesn't make any sense unless the return is utterly jaw-dropping. And it would have to be a team like the Mets or a team that have like just incredible assets and are able to give the Diamondbacks far more than we would expect, But it's like unless the internal strife is too much to deal with, or unless the Diamondbacks are completely going to pivot, as Jack said, do a complete retool where the haul is a big haul, but it's more younger players and prospects, then trading Ketel Marte does not make sense. So again, I'll say that overall, this is I think this would be a move that would break the locker room more than make it better. I don't think Ketel is a locker room cancer. I don't think he's a person that his teammates want to see gone. And quite frankly, he is a guy that was an MVP candidate, right up there, right? He missed some time and it kind of made him fall out of the race. We'll never, ever forget that. Damon won't ever forget why he missed time, ever, thanks to the Philly fanatic.
You're talking about Garrett Stubbs.
Hey, I'm not talking about him missing time voluntarily. I'm talking about when his MVP run kind of.
Yeah, I get that. I get that.
But overall here, I think that this is a bad idea. But like I said earlier, I'm not fully of the mindset that the Diamondbacks are not considering this. And again, there are a lot of reasons why it does make sense. But at the end of the day, I think it's going to be, if it happened, it would replace Paul Goldschmidt as Mike Hazen's biggest regret in his career as a general manager.
Yeah, I mean, I think, personally, it feels like a more personality-driven rumor than anything.
Sure.
Like, it feels like Mike is, upset with Ketel, with the whole situation that happened in the middle of this season. And ever since then, it's somewhat felt like there's a disconnect there. But at the same time, I do think that this has been a bit overblown. I mean, I don't know if you saw, Derek, the mock trade of Ketel to the Mets, and he commented on it. Did you see that?
Yes. Yeah.
And he was telling his buddy clearly was like, "Oh, this would be like a dream," and added Ketel, and Ketel told him to go to sleep. Yeah, I told him to go to sleep, basically.
And people even looked into that too. They're like, he didn't say no though. Yeah, he told his idiot friend to go to sleep and stop messaging him, stop tagging him in Instagram posts about trades.
Yeah, there probably will be talks, but I really highly doubt anything happens for the reason that Jack said when he was leaving the show. It's either too much or too little. Yeah. It's hard to find a trade that truly makes sense for both teams because the Diamondbacks aren't just going to quit and lay down. They're not trying to just trade Ketel for a package of 5 prospects and get over with it.
Right.
If they're going to trade Ketel,
he's not at the end of his contract. It's not like what they got from Merrill Kelly, for instance. I feel like was a great trade for this team and was a bad trade for the Rangers.
For sure. It's what they want is a superstar or star level pitcher in return. And
that's what I want. And if you're not going to give me that, then I'm not even considering it. I'm not taking your phone call.
Yeah. You know and then honestly, you look at it and it's like now you have a giant hole at second base. Now what do you do? What do you do on that second middle infield spot?
See, those are the things though. Like when Jack ran through it, I feel like even for now they would be okay. It wouldn't be as good. We would miss Ketel really quickly.
Yeah, right. Like Lawler.
I'm not saying they have options. They have guys that could play the position. Even Blaze could play it. But you move Blaze over to third base. You move Lawler to second, which was, the shortstop and second was kind of his natural positions. And again, then you can maybe use that trade to add to the rest of the pieces that you're now missing. But again, the starting pitching situation is where the Diamondbacks are currently just a disaster. Corbin Burns coming back at the midpoint of the season, if this team, of course, can stay competitive, that gives us that essentially that lights out ace that we need, right? But with the way this team was constructed, again, could you imagine them being in the playoffs this year with how good the starting pitching has been? And even in some cases, like the Brewers, how dominant their offense was, right? Like there's just a lot of scenarios where if I like watching this team from 2025 and then looking at these postseason teams and the way their starting pitching is delivering, I can't help but think we don't have that. We're not even close to that. We're not even halfway there when it comes to how good some of these teams are with their starting pitching, especially looking at the Dodgers doing everything that they're doing here with these four guys that they're leaning on.
There's no doubt about that. And I'm not going to sit here and be like, this Diamondbacks rotation would have shown you different in the playoffs, Derek. But what I will say is that they did pitch a lot better towards the end of the season.
Yeah, they did.
Brandon Pfaadt had that 8-inning, one-hit gem that he threw. I think you have to put, some stock into that and say that was a great big moment end of the season for Pfaadt. Erod started to look decent in the back half of the season. Yeah. Ryan Nelson is an absolute dude. We know that now.
He is a dude and a stud.
It's been a year and a half where he's been the best pitcher on this team. And I think that sample size is big enough where you feel comfortable Ryan Nelson is a guy. Mm-hmm. And then, I know he's not on the team.
I hate to say this, but as solid of a number 3 pitcher as you could find in baseball, right? Like, that's where I envision Ryan Nelson at if this team was at 100%.
Yeah.
Corbin Burns, number 1. You bring in somebody that fills that number 2 hole. You have Ryan Nelson, number 3, Pfaadt 4, Erod 5. That's a solid starting, rotation. If Pfaadt and Erod can find a way to have a sub 5 ERA and be what they have been for this team at times. Sub 5. We get a sub 4.25 ERA.
4.7. 4.7 is fine. Just give us something mid 4s. Yeah. But I agree with you, Derek. I think, obviously not on the team. Neither one of them are. But, Zach Gallen figured some things out towards the end of last year as well. Maybe you bring him back and you feel a little bit better about that situation, having a 4th guy. But, I'm not to say that these pitchers would have gone in there and done anything. I think it's more likely than not the Diamondbacks get eliminated the first time that they play. Yeah. And in 2 games.
Do you remember the Reds were even in the playoffs?
More likely than not, that's the case. But it's also like I keep telling you this, but I hate doing if we made it, we wouldn't have done anything. We don't know. We thought we weren't going to do anything in 2023. And then what did we do? We had a dream season. Like, I just think it's unfair until you get in those moments. Big game Brandon on the mound. Like, you got Ryan Nelson shoving. Like, who knows what would have happened?
I mean, it's like Jack said, you can't even begin to speculate on what a return for Ketel Marte is because there's too many infinite realities there when it comes to that, right?
Yeah.
And really, like you said, there's too many infinite realities to even understand what the Diamondbacks would have done in the postseason had they gotten there. Maybe their offense just erupts like it has at times this season. It's just, for me personally, it's hard to envision them having a tremendous amount of success, after it's not what they did at the end of the season, even though they fizzled out, because they were very strong at one point during the month of September. It's more of what these other teams are doing in the postseason.
No doubt about it. We don't have that level of pitching, and we need to make a big push to get that this offseason.
A 3-1 ball game, like we don't have that kind of are you kidding me? Like, to keep it a 3-1 ball game?
But we might score like eight in the 8th inning, That's Diamondbacks baseball. But I do think that, this team is obviously the pitching is such a big issue. But to Jack's point, to your point, like, how much does trading Ketel for a top-line starting pitcher get you closer to winning a World Series? I wouldn't say it really does at all because he's your most consistent, pure hitter on the team. Yeah. I'm not going to say he's the best player in general. I think that there's arguments to be made here and there, but he's the most consistent, pure hitter on the team without a question. He was the NLCS MVP when the Diamondbacks won the last National League that they won. He hit the walk-off in that. You need Ketel in the playoffs in these big moments. That is part of the recipe for success for this team.
You're absolutely
right.
A
part of that, is we're going to have to fix this pitching this offseason.
I don't know how they're going to do it, but hopefully they can figure it out.
Without trading Ketel.
That's the bigger thing. Well, we thank you guys for joining us. Make sure to join us this weekend. The Cardinals crew is going to be out there at Chicken and Pickle on Sunday for a pregame tailgate. They're going to be doing their pregame, postgame, and halftime shows, so make sure to join us for that. Plus, our friends at Rally House will be giving out 8 $50 gift cards to fans in attendance. So it's going to be a blast. Go to gophnx.com/events to RSVP for this free event. And then, of course, if you're going to be in Glendale tonight, come watch Bert Kreischer pour vodka down my throat. That's going to be a great time. So until Monday, hope you guys have a wonderful weekend. Hope this Mariners team can figure things out. I hope they are still alive on Monday when we are talking about this. Thank you to Corey Oldham for his super chat. Appreciate you, sir. Appreciate every single one of you. Like I said, make sure to follow us on Twitter. I am at cap_caveman with a K. Damon is at Damon Dog with a DAWG at the end. We are all Damon's dogs. Bark, bark. Our show is at PHNX_Dbacks, but as always, all roads lead to at PHNX_sports on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. Corey threw out a trade. He said trade Marte and Pavin Smith and Murillo for Diaz, Brandon Lowe, Rasmussen, and Fairbanks. All right, we're gonna have to dig into that one. That's a lot. I need to dig into that one.
That's a massive trade.
That's a massive trade.
I mean, obviously,
he loves the idea of getting rid of Pavin.
I was going to say we tossed in Pavin. I think that brings down the trade package a little bit.
But you did increase David's interest in it.
All of a sudden, I saw the Ketel part and I was like, I'm out. And then I kept reading and I thought,
you brought me back in.
I could hear you on it. I mean, I think Diaz is like an insane player, right?
Yeah.
Like he's really good for the Rays.
Yeah.
If the Rays were offered a trade that involved them replacing Diaz with Pavin Smith, I think they might just hang up the phone then and there. They don't even care about the Ketel aspect. They're like, what?
Pavin Smith? Goodbye. Anyway. Well, we thank you guys. Hope you guys have a wonderful weekend. We will see you back here on Monday at 12 p.m. Until then, enjoy your weekend. Go see Snakes. Go Dbacks. And remember, kids, baseball is fun, but it's so much more fun when you stop even considering trading Ketel Marte.
We all silly like the mayor.